Hey guys, welcome to Bronics Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a kind of a end series summary, retrospective or whatever, our thoughts of Series 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, we just finished watching that.
It finished, I think, what date was it yesterday? 12th of May 2015 was the day the last episode aired in America. We obtained a copy because British television's been really slow showing these.
Yeah, it was slipped through the door by an anonymous source. We have no idea where it came from.
Exactly, yeah. So, shit happens, so we just got lucky. Did better than Agent Carter anyway. At least they're actually airing this on British television. But
because Agent Carter has been picked up for a second series.
Yeah, I mean, some news came out in the last few days. I think it was over the weekend they officially announced Agent Carter's got a Series 2 coming presumably beginning of next year. So,
well, if they're doing a season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it might be in the downtime.
I assume, again. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a pure guesswork. There's nothing officially been said on that. It's mainly been, what was it, Chris Evans congratulating Ellie Atwell, was it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, they actually announced they are doing the second series. Also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting a third series as well. That was announced about a day later, I think. So, all something to look forward to anyway. So, this series, in my opinion, wasn't as good as Series 1. Series 1 kind of peaked towards the end. This had its moments, don't get me wrong.
I think this series, it was better as a whole, kind of overall, because it didn't have like the really slow, kind of missing something start that Season 1 had.
True.
But ultimately, it never hits the same heights as Season 1 either, because they don't really have quite the same kind of energy and interest that you got with the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the last few episodes of Season 1. You never really hit that height again, so...
Good way of describing it, really.
Yeah. It's like better overall, but doesn't get to as high a point, would be my...
Yeah. It didn't have the low point that Series 1 had, but it didn't have the high point that Series 1 had as well, because...
more consistent, but not as good, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was very consistent. The same kind of feel at the end of the series to what it had at the beginning. The same kind of vibe. I mean, obviously halfway through they picked up the whole Inhumans thing, which we did a video, didn't we? Halfway through when they kind of went in that direction. That was back in December, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we're still a couple of years away from the Inhumans film, aren't we? 2019,
I think, or 2018. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what similarities, what connections this TV series has, the way they've established Inhumans to that film when it comes out. Because
in some ways I think they've been clever in that regard, because ultimately the Inhumans were all like moved away from the place they were in the series, so if they're somewhere else in the film it's not going to be like jarring, because it's like, well, they left that place because it got like bombed.
Yeah, they haven't really gone,
and they've killed off like the two main like leader characters. So, spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, they've not really kind of gone into what the Inhumans are and their society and everything. They've basically given you a taste.
I mean, they talk a lot about tradition and things like that, which are kind of like big factors of the Inhumans, as I vaguely recall you telling me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've also like cleared the deck of like a lot of the characters. There are still Inhumans running around, but a lot of the established characters that they've had in this season haven't survived the end of this season, or at least not obviously survived it. Leaving it open to, not being too like jarring when the film comes out.
I imagine that's why they've done it. I know from the synopsis of Series 3, from what I've read, it's going to be a lot, again, mostly Agent Coulson, as usual, kind of leading it against S.H.I.E.L.D. Not S.H.I.E.L.D., against Hydra and the Inhumans, some like rogue elements of the Inhumans.
Yeah, there's a strong influence... suggestion at the end of the series that the world's getting stranger. Kind of even more so than like the Chitauri invasion and stuff. Like, there's stuff in circulation now that's been tainted by the Turrigan mists. So you could be getting new superhumans like popping up all over the place.
So it's going into the fish oil as well. I didn't want a fish oil.
Oh, God, but yeah, it's like basically the Turrigan mists have like ended up in the water supply. They've got into the like food supply, so you could be seeing new Inhumans basically like triggered, or mutations or whatever.
Yeah, they kind of go wherever they want with it.
It definitely looks like they're leading towards having more powered people around with like Sky, because they're talking of putting together like a secret team of like powered people to work for S.H.I.E.L.D, which I'm assuming would be the Secret Warriors. So I know that's where the character of Quake, originally comes from, the comic book Secret Warriors.
Yeah, I'm just resisting the urge to do I want to fish.
Alright, yes, get it out!
People aren't going to get it on their Got a tradition of putting jokes in that people watching the video won't get, just to wind you up. It's like, people don't get that.
I know you're like, how is that relevant? Like, Jesus Christ. At least you don't need like a 20-minute backstory to get like my weird references.
Do some Uncle Don references if you want from me.
No.
But yeah, so Series 3 I imagine will be the same length as the last one. I think that's one of the problems with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you're not really digging it, it kind of drags, but it's normal, 22 episodes is something you expect from journalists. I'm not a big fan of TV series, and I can just about watch it. I mean, I kind of get distracted when I'm watching. I'll start doing stuff on my phone or whatever. That's just me. But yeah.
As somebody that watches more TV shows, I find it perfectly...
yeah.
I don't find it a chore to sit through.
No.
Then again, it is the sort of show that I think if I had... Say when it's gone for the long break, and I hadn't realised it had started up again and I'd missed a lot of episodes, I might not have been in a huge rush to have gone back to it.
Yeah, it's not a gripping.
I mean, it's perfectly entertaining and I'm enjoying it, but I think if I missed a lot of episodes for some reason, I don't think I'd feel that desperate need to get back into it and see what happens next.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the problem as to why a lot of the people that like the movies just don't watch it. I know so many people that are heavily into the movies and stuff and follow every bit of news. Not interested in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's only really you and me that I know that even watch this. I can't think of anyone else that I even know that
Well, I
watches
know at least one friend of mine who was quite into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, but they kind of stopped watching it around the Winter Soldier kind of tie-in because they didn't want spoilers for the film because they couldn't go see it right away. And just never got back into it afterwards just because they were doing other things and just never got around to it.
Yeah, there's kind of a meh kind of attitude to the series.
And certainly the first season was not helped by being so split up all over the damn place.
Yeah. I only watched Series 1 fully when it came out on Blu-ray. I watched the first episode, wasn't impressed. Just cheap ass, I don't buy it. It says...
even as somebody who liked the first series, I wasn't impressed with the first couple of episodes.
It reminded me of being a kid and watching that RoboCop TV series that came on. And I mean, the difference, with the vast difference in the film, the RoboCop films in the series isn't quite the same as this. But it was that kind of just I don't buy this is set in the same universe. I just really don't do it. But... over time, particularly after the Thor tie-in, it was a bit weak. It
was a fine episode, it was just a really weak tie-in.
Yeah.
It was one of those things I don't really see why this is a tie-in. Ironically, the X-Files-ish episode that came after that with the guy who could, move between dimensions.
Yeah.
Ironically, even though that had F all to do with Asgard, it was a better tie-in with Thor the Dark World because it was all to do with... I mean, basically, it had all been started because of the events of Thor the Dark World. He was effectively moving between universes like in Thor the Dark World, and it was a much stronger episode.
In Series 2, we had quite a few high moments anyway, so we'll kind of stick to Series 2.
Yeah.
That was me that took us off there. But I can do some I Want to Fish references.
Shut up.
Yeah, well, high points in Series 2, I thought, for me, that I can just remember off the top of my head, were obviously there was another episode with Lady Sif. I did like the stuff, the second episode, I think, with the Absorbing Man. I think there's a couple of episodes.
Crusher Creel, it was in the first... It was kind of in the first 2 episodes, but in some ways the first 2 episodes should have just been a 2-parter.
Yeah.
In fact, the second part of it kind of suffered from being a completely separate thing. It should have just been a feature-length episode like this one was, because everything in the second episode tied directly back into the first episode.
Those first few episodes, and when they kind of had the whole story with Whitehall and how that tied in, not with the Agent Carter series, I would have loved to have seen a closer connection other than just it's Agent Carter.
Yeah, it seemed to be the Agent Carter series was after the whole stuff with Whitehall because time in the army was kind of over.
I would have liked to have seen flashback sequences relevant to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then you got to see those play out in Agent Carter and you'd be like, but they didn't really. I was expecting that, but they didn't. It's kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think Agent Carter generally was better received than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think just because the main character was a main character in one of the films, it just felt like a more legitimate extension.
Yeah, Coulson is okay, but he's not a traditional kind of main character that you would think of.
Yeah.
He's kind of the slightly comedic in the background character. He's not really... I mean, Hayley Atwell was more central just generally. And more like leading person material.
Yeah. Well, I think she's going to be in flashback scenes in Ant-Man, coming out in July from what I've heard anyway. But other things as well from Series 2. I think that to me it was better towards the beginning of the series, like I say, with the whole stuff with Whitehall and Hydra as we kind of know it. They've kind of gone off a bit, which I understand is them kind of doing their own thing. But it's really kind of distanced it from the films, and it's the films that have brought me into it. That's just my perspective. I'm not saying that is good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm just being subjective kind of with it. If you tend to like TV shows like this just on their own merits, you probably get more out of it. But yeah, like I say, a lot of the people that are into the films, I really don't know anyone else that watches this show. I can't really talk to anyone else about the show because nobody watches it. I think that was particularly at the beginning of the second series. It was really kind of losing viewers, which it did pick up after a while. So I just think that
it needs to stand on its own 2 feet, or it needs to have some really deep tie-ins to the films.
Yeah,
and it doesn't really seem to have either, which is a bit of a problem.
I think if they did put actors in from the films, it would probably peak in terms of viewership for a while, but it would just dwindle again. I know some of the actors have said, like Robert Downey Jr. I think has said he wouldn't mind being in it, and Chris Pratt, but I think that was like when they were asked, they were like, yeah, sure. I think if push comes to shove, they've got better things to be getting paid for.
You'd be like, yeah, sure, now where's that, like, how many million my appearances cost?
They would blow a lot of the budget on that. The budget is a big deal with these shows. I do know, I think that what I read, I don't know how true this is, I can't remember where I read it, but part of the reason why Agent Carter only got 8 episodes was because it's just so expensive to do a TV show set in that period because there's so much CGI. You might not even realise it. A lot of the CGI in this does look quite good for a TV show. You probably won't realise it watching Agent Carter how much of that is just kind of CGI in the background to make it look like it's set in the 1940s.
It's kind of it's a bit more of a problem for stuff that's set in the States, because I know you get quite a bit of period things that are kind of set like by the BBC and stuff, like Foyle's War and all that kind of stuff, and there still seems to be a lot in England that they don't need to CGI it the same.
You can just go to a place like Keighley, for example.
No, but there's quite a few places of London where if you just clear the street for a day and put some vintage cars on there, it looks still very
pretty much
authentic to the time period, whereas I don't really think you get that the same in like New York.
Yeah, it's modernised.
Yeah.
Now we didn't see Nick Fury in Series 2 at any point, did we?
No. You saw what's her name?
Maria Hill.
Maria Hill.
Yeah, Mariah.
Whatever the fucking name is.
So yeah, there was her. She was in it. The tie-ins to the Age of Ultron film I thought were weaker. Well, it was fact they were weaker than the tie-ins to Winter Soldier a year previously. However,
in some ways they were a little bit stronger from the film's side of things, but they didn't do as much of it in the series, because with the first series, nothing that happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even if you were like like desperate looking for any connection in the film, there wasn't really anything. This time round, you did get the helicarrier, and there's a line in the film which is supposed to be taken as, it was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that got this like helicarrier sorted for us.
Yeah.
Because it turns out Coulson was hiding it away.
Yeah.
Now, presumably this was the helicarrier you've seen in
Age of Ultron.
Well, yeah, but also I was going to say it's probably the one that got slightly wrecked in the first Avengers Assemble. Because you don't see that again in Winter Soldier, so presumably, after having like 3 out of its 4 engines like blown up and various damage during the Loki attack, obviously he's told people, yeah, it got scrapped, but secretly he's had it fixed up somewhere.
Yeah, because they did, like I said, there's a bit of a nod, because in Age of Ultron, Nick Fury just saying, I've had some old friends get
pull this out of mothballs for me.
Yeah, and I took that as a nod to the series, not just
that
was a line in the series that then the series took advantage of. I think that was done with
I think it was designed to be... You could take it either way. If you were a fan of the series, then that's your link.
Yeah.
If you were like just watching the films and not paying attention to the series, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
It's just, he's got friends and allies, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was going to be a bit more of a story thing, so I thought, they're going to be like stealing the helicarrier or something.
Yeah, we both thought that.
But it turns out that this Zeta Protocol that was mentioned a couple episodes prior to that was actually the fact that they'd had one hidden away somewhere. Which was a little disappointing. Like I said, I think they could have done more from the series side of things.
They could have, at the very least, had an episode where they have to move a tractor into a barn for Nick Fury to lure Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. in there and say, this is knackered, can you fix it? Then Nick Fury pops out. That would have been so cool. But no, they didn't. Apparently they couldn't afford the tractor, the knackered old tractor in the series. Joking, obviously.
Yeah, jokes aside, with the first series you had 4 or 5 episodes which are almost entirely around S.H.I.E.L.D, Hydra, the kind of uprising and stuff. You had a major character turn round and turn out to be Hydra and all this going on. Age of Ultron wise, it kind of mattered for part of an episode and into the next episode, and then it kind of didn't again.
Yeah, it was kind of a weak connection, kind of a bullshit connection where the Inhumans, like, there was a man of metal and stuff. There's like, is that the best you can do? I mean, but then again, did they really want to go there? Probably not. So, but it would have been nice.
Like I said, in some ways, I don't know what they could have really done more to tie in, if you get me. Because it was all very, like, isolated, was the Avengers kind of fight with Ultron.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Ultron robots were attacking random cities all around the world that they could get in on. So
yeah.
I guess there was that as well.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to fit Series 3 in with Civil War, because in this they're kind of establishing the real S.H.I.E.L.D, is it that it's called? And there's definitely kind of a tone of going after superhumans.
Yeah, kind of distrust. Then again, S.H.I.E.L.D seems to have come together at the end of this series.
Yeah.
With Coulson still as the director, but there's like a governing body of S.H.I.E.L.D agents that are kind of oversight, like advising him. Kind of like Nick Fury had like the World Council kind of, that he was answerable to. Coulson is actually answerable to people now. But then again, most of those people he's answerable to don't seem to have survived this series, so I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go.
Agent Coulson, give the man a hand.
Yes.
Got his arm chopped off. Spoiler.
I'm thinking he's going to have... I think we just need to put, like, in the disclaimer of this is a spoiler review.
Yeah.
As soon as I kind of got into spoilers before remembering to say. Yeah, he loses his hand, so presumably he's going to have, like, a artificial hand or something in the next series.
He's been killed before and brought back, so yeah. In fact, it's not the first time we've seen a hand chopped off. And it happened with Thor, didn't it, as well, I guess. But then again, he's not from Asgard.
Plus, that was an illusion.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, we did a video a few weeks ago, about a week ago, actually, I think it was, or 2 weeks, about comments that Joss Whedon had made, kind of distancing himself from his series and saying, in his view, that the series doesn't count. We kind of got into it there, and I guess we pretty much said everything we could, but I just feel that's just Joss Whedon's opinion. I mean, I could say who is he to sort of, I mean, he's the director of the Avengers films, but overall, the Avengers films are just 2 films in what is currently an 11-movie franchise.
Ultimately, he's not the guy making the decisions and the calls.
Yeah.
I mean, from what he's saying, it does sound like the guys doing the movies are kind of like, oh, for God's sakes, with the show, but...
They could be doing that anyway.
Like I say, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that from one film to the next. Doesn't mean anything really. It just means that in the profession, the film writers, producers, whatever that aren't involved in the TV series, just kind of it rubbed them up in the wrong way that they've got this TV series that they've got to take into consideration, which is understandable. I can totally understand that position.
Then again, I don't know what they're moaning about because it's not really like the TV show is like setting up anything the films need to pay attention to.
I mean,
it seems to be the other way around. I'd have thought if there was any bitterness, it would be from the TV guys going, "Oh, come on, seriously, you've destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D. just after we started that goddamn show.
Yeah.
Are you serious?"
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know what's going on there.
As far as the movie writers go, if I was tasked with writing an Inhumans movie, I wouldn't be sweating the issues that have been set up in the series because it's only kind of little bits of it. It's like a taster. It's not like we've established the Inhuman Society. We've like made references to Black Bolt character and stuff like that.
I mean, you've had no references to anybody, I'm assuming, who's going to show up in the film.
Yeah, I mean, there's Quake, but...
Again, she's not actually an Inhuman.
Yeah, she's kind of relevant to that, but...
Yeah, I mean, she's relevant to this because they kind of tagged her into Inhumans as, like, a collected thing. They seem to be the version of mutants because they can't use mutants because that's an X-Men thing. But she doesn't seem to be... You know, she's not actually in the comics. She isn't an Inhuman. She's not part of the team you would recognise as the Inhumans. So it's not like, oh, well, why aren't you having Quake in your film? Yeah. It's like, well, she's not part of this team, so who cares?
Well, I understand that they're probably going to do that with Scarlet Witch, possibly, and say that she could be an Inhuman. So what they do in the movies doesn't have to follow what they do in the comics, because... I mean, they've done that. Look at the Infinity Stones. The Infinity Stones, the Tesseract, the Cosmic Cube in the film is a
completely different.
Well, it's one of the stones in the Infinity Stones in the film.
That's what I was thinking. It was in the comic books. It's two completely separate objects.
That would be like saying that the Holy Grail is the Ark of the Covenant. Or something. It's like no, two separate things. But
I mean, they're kind of similar, but they're two completely different things.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much said everything we can. Try to keep this.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not coming out of this series thinking, oh god, I'm going to have to watch a third series of it.
No.
It's fun. In some ways, I would be interested to seeing it again because I know the first season improved a lot on repeat viewing, knowing where it was going. Because then I could look back and say, well, actually, yeah, there are these, like... I can now clearly see why they're doing this. It's not just, oh, no, we are tied in the films, no, seriously, please believe us. It's like, well, yeah, they've actually got all that stuff because it ties in later in the series, and it ties into Winter Soldier. So yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, because you couldn't see it coming at the time. So
it's like, oh, what? All right, oh god, so they're going to do something that's based on Extremis with alien tech and
Centipede.
It's like, it's like, what? Who the hell cares what that is? And just because you've thrown in all these references from the film, what does it matter? Oh, well, actually, Centipede is Hydra, and the reason it's tied into all the stuff like left over from the films is because all the stuff left over from the films ended up in S.H.I.E.L.D's hands and now is in Hydra's hands. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me now. I see where they were going.
Maybe when the Blu-ray set comes out, which I imagine will be October, November time of Series 2.
Maybe we'll have got Agent Carter on Blu-ray.
Yeah, we'll try to follow that. I don't know when that's out. I'm hoping it'll be early summertime. Because there is something advertised on Amazon. It's a slipcase, hardcover slipcase, which is like some kind of a book. It's when you get a book inside a box, basically, a slipcase. So I think if there's like a book coming out around then, the DVD Blu-ray set might as well be out around then, because they sometimes coincide books and DVDs of things released together.
I don't know why they're dragging their feet over announcing when it's going to come out, to be honest.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to actually have that like legitimately like on my shelf kind of thing. It's just a shame.
Because again, any criticisms that may be levelled at us for finding our copies via some strange, contact somewhere, which has nothing to do with torrenting.
No.
If we could get a hold of it, we would be buying it. It's not like they're losing a sale because of this. It's like, this is the only way we can legitimately get hold of it.
And we will still buy it when it comes out.
Yeah. Well, you will, because you're a collector. I don't tend to...
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see anyway. But yeah, I think Series 2 of this, which I kind of count Agent Carter as part of Series 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's been alright. It's not been awesome, but it's not been bad, so, you know. So there you have our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Series 2 overview. Video kind of conked out a bit early there, so that's why it kind of ended abruptly. But yeah, it's been a pretty good series all round. Not great, not all that bad, as I say. So definitely recommend, if you haven't watched any of this, start from the beginning, because it's had its ups and downs. Series 2 is fairly consistent throughout, so that's one good thing I will say about it. And if you want to check back at brandxreviews.com, we will be following further developments as information comes in regarding this series, and also the Marvel Cinematic Universe itself. There's some information coming up on how you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So for now, I'll leave it there and say thank you very much for watching. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just so you know, for more news, reviews and retrospectives, you can like our page on Facebook, simply called Brand X Reviews. But as well as that, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube via this video. You can also bookmark our website, which is brandxreviews.com, which is pretty much a central hub for everything that I've just mentioned. So check that out, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.